Hey folks, welcome back to FreepCast. My name is Robb Murray. I'm here with managing editor Joe Spear. And Joe, we had a slew of pretty good stories in the last week in the coverage.
Yes. We could start with fake guns and real guns. You did a story, of course, about the senior assassin game. The seniors at the high schools play this every year, I guess, or frequently. And what's it all about?
So it's just kind of a fun game they like to play. In Mankato, what sounds like it's just the seniors at Mankato East and Mankato West High School, where they you sign up, you pay your $5, and whoever's in the game tries to squirt gun people, others who are in the game, and the last person who hasn't been squirted gets the pot. And last I heard, over at one of the schools, it was over $500. So
wow, game I've never heard of until now. But the school issued a kind of an announcement saying, beware, this is going on, folks. Don't assume it's a real thing, which is what you have to say today.
They did do that, and I totally get it, because how many times have we seen realistic-looking guns on somebody who's not doing anything wrong, but people are going to call in? And when the police go to a call like that, they are going in they are assuming
it's real.
If the call is correct, that it's real, and they are going in there, you may have a gun pulled on you.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow their instructions properly, I mean, we've got more than a few cases around the country where innocent people have gotten shot.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're doing stuff like this. I'm not judging the kids doing the game. Sounds kind of fun, actually.
Yeah.
We did worse stuff, I think, maybe when we were in high school, but it's a different time now.
It's a different time now. It's absolutely a different time now. I think anybody carrying a gun draws a lot more attention and fear. And, as we know, fear without facts can get into some really dangerous and messy situations. So I'm glad we did the story. I had, and I imagine a lot of our readers had no idea this goes on. And
I never heard of it.
We kind of know now.
For the record,
right?
I have your fun, guys. We're not here to say you shouldn't do it. We just want you to be safe.
Exactly. And I don't know if there's a way to alert people that this is going on. Well, I guess we did. We did a story.
I guess we did what we could do.
Yeah. The more concerning story, of course, is recent apprehension of a man who authorities say was planning a mass attack. He had shoplifted from a local outdoor store a bunch of stuff, magazines and protective vests and survival guide stuff, and walked out the store, ran out the store, and they tried to stop him, but he got into his car and he almost ran over somebody. Anyway, what's interesting, long story short, they eventually found the guy and apprehended him. But as I understand it, talking to Brian, our police reporter, so there was things on social media that he was saying, just outright, death to Americans, death to Israel. And if ICE comes, this is what you're going to get. And he's pointing an assault-style weapon in these photos online, presumably online. And so somebody alerts authorities to this, and there's now a special unit at the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension that looks at these threats, assesses, and gets back to local authorities. At least that's how it looks like it's working. Brian's discussing with me. So the BCA got back to local authorities and said, this looks serious. You need to check into this. You need to find him. And they did. So in that sense, it worked, but a very scary situation. They confiscated some assault-style rifles, some weapons, some ammunition, and there he had 3D guns, right? Ghost guns. And so luckily, hopefully, it wasn't until a few months ago that the Supreme Court ruled ghost guns had to follow the rules of regular guns.
Yeah.
You need license, you need serial numbers, you need background checks. It was a 7-2 victory at the Supreme Court. Nice to know that they're going to call guns real guns. But anyway, so hopefully that applies now in this case. before it didn't, because they weren't real guns.
Did they recover any kind of manifesto or any kind of written explanation? Or
in the reporting, we have not seen that, but there was. Now I saw something. Little tidbits come out, stribs on it now. Everybody's on it. There was a survivalist guide apparently left behind at the store. Like a list of everything. I haven't heard or seen of any manifesto. It's just his comments on social media that were threatening.
I wonder if they go through his computer and find.
They have a search warrant.
Something
they did a
in
search
progress.
warrant. Yep. And Brian got some of the information from that search warrant, which people may not know, but search warrants are public records after a few days when they execute them. So good thing, there's information out there that we can find out about. So yeah, big stories. We'll obviously be following that one really closely, because it's a pretty big deal. I don't recall anything quite like this in the recent past.
No, I feel like we dodged a bullet a little bit.
Yeah.
We hate to be the national story of the week for
good Lord.
shooting.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to be. Want to mention our sponsor, Minnesota Valley Federal Credit Union. They sponsor this podcast, and if you're getting anything out of this, which we hope you are, interesting news, interesting insights, thank them. Mark Fishnick had a great Sunday story. This is kind of a positive story, much positive story, of course. The story of former Bethany basketball player, now alumni, 83 years old. They were having their alumni meeting last October, their board meeting, and Bob Heidenreich began to have a heart attack after he gave his little spiel about how much he loves Bethany and how it influenced his life since he was 20. And so several people in the room assisted him. There was a former fire chief who's on the Bethany board, so it was great to have all these people. But if you haven't read this story, I really encourage you to go back and read it. It is so masterfully written about a seemingly not routine incident, but, people have heart attacks all the time, and people save them in CPR. But he weaves the story very interesting through sort of Bethany's culture and with, some basketball analogies, because the guy was a great basketball player and coached high school basketball in Wisconsin with 400 wins or something like that. A really cool story, but a longer story, but it just kind of told kind of a play-by-play of what happened, and people were taking turns giving CPR before the ambulance got there, although the hospital was not far away. They were at Bethany.
Like 2 blocks away.
Yeah, so good for that.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently the resuscitation effort was critical, and the doctors at Mayo, they had to take him to Mayo eventually, said that they're surprised he's alive, and it's probably because of the resuscitation efforts that he is. And there was, some details that Mark got about, interviewing the guy, like what did Bethany mean to him, and his one of his relatives is a pastor up in New Ulm, and they talked about everybody in the room when this was happening were praying, and so it worked just a lot of interesting, fun details into it, and it's a really uplifting story. So again, one of those things you don't see in every paper because you don't have reporters like Mark Fishnick. I said go back and read it. It's the real uplifting one of the week.
Unrelated, but somewhat related note about that. Mark was the first one from the Free Press to jump on the story about the guy who was arrested for the almost
Absolutely
mass casualty event.
Yeah, yeah. Kudos to him for sure getting it the night before. There's various groups popping up now. Mankato Man, I think, is one of them, and they have found that the court complaints out there now are public, so anybody can download them from the county attorney's office. And this one got out there. And, people were saying it could have been a mass shooting. So Mark was on night duty. He was checking some of the police sites, and he found this one, and then he found the complaint. And so he, very amount of short time, wrote up the salient details. And you were working that night, right?
Yeah.
So Mark alerted you guys about what time?
Yep. 7 o'clock. It was after 7 o'clock, I think.
Okay.
At the same time, Holly Marie Moore was out and about, and she saw a fire near Nicollet, and let me know that there's more stuff coming. We have to squeeze in somewhere in the paper, and it maybe didn't look the greatest, but we got it in a little bit.
No, it was absolutely great.
So we had people on the spot and doing what they should be doing that night. So it was good.
Absolutely good. Absolutely good. Couple quick hit news items. Amazon delivery is going to have a hub in North Cato. I guess you're going to get your Amazon package a little faster, maybe.
I get a lot of stuff from Amazon, man. This is good news for me.
Do you need it faster than a day? Like half a day? It's possible not. They
once
can't
in a
do
while.
half
So okay, my daughter lived in St. Louis for a while, and she had some same-day deliveries from Amazon because the hubs are right there. Mm. And my son's in Madison. He's had a similar situation.
Oh, okay.
Here in Mankato, it's always a couple of days, but
wow, okay.
A couple of days is fine for
my wife does most of the Amazon stuff. I very rarely get anything. But another story you had that was very interesting and important. Cato Public Charter School going to close its doors in June. A lot of things happening statewide with charter schools. Star Tribune did a big investigation of a lot of. They're not meeting benchmarks. The students aren't meeting benchmarks. You came across that story, and I think talked to students and teachers and what school kind of means, and clearly there's problems why they can't stay open. The test scores are way low.
The test scores are really low, but that doesn't tell the full story of Cato Public Charter School. A lot of the kids that go there are dealing with a lot of issues that kids who go to the regular schools aren't dealing with. So just to say that the school's failing is maybe not entirely accurate. They're teaching a student body that's challenged in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, they need to be meeting certain benchmarks, and the test scores they're having right now are really bad.
Right. And everything I was reading, I read parts of the in-depth report from the Star Tribune, and they did a very in-depth report. Requested a lot of public records, which some of these charter schools didn't realize they have to give that are public records. And it was, I remember when Minnesota started these, it was just like one of the first most innovative things in the country. I think we were one of the first to do charter schools, and it was a real big deal because everybody thought, well, they're going to compete with the public schools and everything like that, and they're going to take our resources. But it also, over the years, I think, gotten pretty big in a lot of schools to regulate, and then some troubles. So among everything else, as we know, the pandemic hit the schools really tough, and test scores everywhere were down. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't expect it wouldn't affect the charter schools as well. But that was an interesting story, another kind of in-depth story.
And then just to clarify, for if you haven't read the story, the school is closing at the end of June, so those students are going to have to find a new place to go. I imagine a lot of them will be absorbed by Mankato area public schools. I know a few people have talked about looking into Minnesota New Country School in Henderson.
Okay.
That school is a very good school, and they've got a waiting list, from what I understand.
Wow.
So maybe some can go
and
there,
then there's
maybe
Central
not.
School as well, which is
a lot of them are looking at Central.
School.
Yeah, serves a similar demographic.
Yeah. So it's good to know that. Couple other notes. Government's looking to get hit by the federal budget cuts. Blue Earth County is offering a voluntary furlough program. People want to take time off without pay, they can start doing that. We'll see how that plays out. But other than that, sports, I don't think we have. It's kind of the quiet time with sports.
It is a quiet time.
And I want to just give the full credit to our sponsor once again. So the podcast is sponsored by Minnesota Valley Federal Credit Union. happily serving those who live, work, or do business in Blue Earth, Nicollet, LeSueur, Waseca, Brown, Watonwan counties since 1934. We thank them. I guess I got the quote of the week if we're ready for that.
Before we get to that, I want to remind people they can catch some of the multimedia work that Casey Eck here, our producer, does. He's the guy behind the warm-up, which is a series of music performances that takes place right inside the Free Press. And those have been fantastic. We've had a lot of local great music be on there. So thanks to Casey for that, and thanks for producing the podcast, and thanks to Goodnight Gold Dust for the music.
Absolutely.
I think we should thank them.
Yes. I do want to mention our upcoming, our next Knowledge and Lecture series is going to be kind of a fun one, a lighter one. Mystery writer Alan Eskins is going to be with us, and we're going to have that at the Blue Earth County Historical Society, have a bigger room. But Alan's going to talk about his book and take a lot of cool questions, I'm sure. Alan's a great guy. I've met him, and I know you've met him too, probably.
Yeah, I've known Alan for a long time. It seems like everything he writes turns to gold. So he's had a 10-year run of bestsellers. So
that is
great
cool.
writer.
Yeah, that is cool. Just want to make sure you know how to subscribe to the Free Press too. Call Reader Service or email Reader Service at mankatofreepress.com. You can call 625-3764. And we also have photo reprints with our partner SBX Sports. You can call 345-7196. You can also do all those things on it right from our website if you find them. So thanks for that.
And I think the website, are we past the subscription issues and website issues and everything?
We had, I actually have a column going in Sunday's paper explaining a lot of that, but we did have a switch over in our circulation system. I think many of you know we put things in the paper, and it was a headache for us and for you, and it is a system that is way less costly for us to administer. It's a little more of a learning curve, so our people are still working on it, learning curve. The best thing to do is call the Reader Service Department or email them. If you call the newsroom, we will just have to transfer you down there. So it's easier just to leave a message with them. And I think we're getting through a lot of it. Our phone has not been ringing off the hook, so a lot of it is getting solved. Good. So we appreciate that. Quote of the week. Okay, it's from that first story one of the first stories I talked about. Excuse me. The life and saving of life of Bob Heidenreich over at Bethany. So Bob says to us, we're talking to him about the events, and he says, some of them were praying as they attended to me. I certainly believe in prayer. And there was one like the MVP at the event. Having the retired fire chief in their room didn't hurt, he said with a laugh. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you. See you.